this topic, going beyond learning and development. When I say going beyond learning and development, basically, at the end of the day, what is the purpose of learning and development? It is for our people to upskill themselves. But just pure activity based in terms of learning about things, developing them, I think what I wanted to do today is focus more on the development part. And for some of us, going beyond it, it means it's not about attending classes anymore. So with this, I'd like to share with you something about my company that I serve. We are across this region and we try to provide. So for some of you, may I know how many of you have bought from Jabon? Wow, we are in good company. Unfortunately, Jabon has been sold off to Flipkart. I don't think so Zalora will be sold. And so Jabon is our sisters. Similarly, Middle East, that's Namshi. Similarly, in Iconic for Australia. And then we have Dafiti in South America. And La Moda in Europe. What I'd like to share is this notion. 72% of our people cited that career advancement as the key reason for leaving the company. Honestly, this is no surprises. When we do all kinds of survey, either from a global ones and all, or you do your own, you would have seen the same number. The question and the takeaway I'd like to give to you all is, what do you do with this information? Data to insight, insights to action. I think that should be the main key point. And with this, I'd like to challenge all of us by saying is that learning development is actually what we are trying to do is career development. And for the company that I'm in, it's even more pronounced, purely because the people that I have in Southeast Asia, e-commerce is still very much at its infancy. And we don't have many talent, and a lot of people who join us are the very young and dangerous people. Not dangerous as in they are young and reckless and trying to experiment with all kinds of things. They'll come to you with all kinds of ideas. 80% of our people are 28 years old. So what I wanted to bring forward is this notion, which I guess, you know what, come on, don't preach to the choir. 70, 20, 10. And what I'd like to share with you is how I do or go about doing it. First of all, I'm not on the destination yet. We are still trying to do our best, okay? We are 4.5 years old right now. So 70, 20, 10. And our obligation, so beyond learning development, it's really about how do we manage performance itself. Yes, we're going to talk about how we're going to do it, but I'm not going to talk about your bell curve, ditch your bell curve, don't ditch your bell curve. It's going to be another 2 hours, and I only have 15 minutes more with you guys. So I'm just going to go straight to what are the things that we are doing in Zalora. I think a lot of times we say we communicate, and how many of times have you seen this in your company or previous company or other companies saying that we send out an email, guys, or hello everyone, or dear everyone, we're going to have the performance management cycle once more. Please refer to this link to read about it. Please do this, these are the timeline. Then after which we send out reminders and reminders and reminders. So what I did is that for all my 45 HR team members across, whether they are in operation, whether they are in learning development, HRBP, everyone is involved in touching the ground. But more than that, when it comes down to convincing people, in each of our meetings, we have a leader who is with us, and in fact, we actually just sit behind and let the leader lead rather than we leading it. I think that's a potent initiative, because when you have the leader coming forward, these are the people who is going to do the evaluation, not HR administration doing the job, but the leader believing in it. The next one is stakeholders feedback. I know this is a familiar one, 360 feedback, but what I'm trying to do is this. How many of the time you all would feel this a very familiar thing? At the start of the year, put out your annual goals. At the end of the year, nobody, throughout the whole year, nobody talk about goals. And then we go up, maybe some of us go about doing the mid-year review. Then we look at the goals again. Then after which, when it comes to most of us, first quarter of the following year, we start to do self-assessment, manager assessment, stakeholders feedback. Then after, what do? Calibration, rating, calibration, 10 steps, right? What I'm trying to do is something simple. Basically trying to have that action not done all the way to the end. How about simply putting the stakeholders feedback in the front? So what I did is that from Q1, Q2, Q3. Q3 is the time when I put the stakeholders feedback. Q4, honestly for us, our calendar year or fiscal year is December. So for retail, it's crazy time. Don't touch them. When it comes to Q1, that's where the whole season comes. Some of you may say, you know what, Chek Wee, it's not progressive at all. Come on, what makes you having the honor to stand down here? What I'm trying to say down here is context is key. So the context that I'm in, my people are young. My people, there is messiness before I joined. During then, we have 2,000 people and 1,200 titles. During then, we have different way of doing things in different parts of the world. Each of them, the country MDs, have wanting to make a difference. They do what it takes. And as a result, we grew from 20 people to 2,000 people in 3 years. Crazy, crazy, crazy. What I'm trying to say down here is all I'm doing is for the first phase, do what is familiar, but make it a little bit more meaningful. The second one is, I think this notion down here is we have created an e-learning module created by our own people that basically says this is the main baseline when it comes down to what is our performance cycle like, how do you go about doing stay interview, how do you go about coaching employees. The thing is this, the tricky part is when we bring in the best talent to come and join our course, we will have the juniors and we also have the seniors. People who comes in saying, hey, come on, I came from MNC who have tons of years of experience. I do not need your online e-learning tool or your online platform. The narrative that we put forward is that we are not here to teach you. We are here to let you know this is the minimum requirement of being a Zalora manager. And truth be told, let me tell you this. The funny thing is that in Singapore, we have our warehouse. What I did in Zalora is that no matter how high or how low you are, when we had a warehouse during then, now we have put a warehouse in Malaysia. All new hires who join us, other than an orientation program, other than attending this, they all don a Zalora t-shirt and work at the warehouse for 4 hours. They sweat, they perspire, they feel the backbone of our organization, and I think that is literally, it's like shaving off their hair and saying that, come, join us and be humble. Be humble and learn. Yes, you may have the most number of years of experience across all of us. These are the minimum standard you need to behave. So 70, 20, 10. Unfortunately, what I was trying to show down here is I want to focus on the 20 and 10. Earlier, basically I talked about performance management is to help to make sure that the 70%, for those of us who are not aware, 70% refers to the experience of our employees. And experience as they go about overcoming the daily obstacles that they have each and every day. How do we make sure that we have a meaningful performance review? How do we make sure that feedback is given to them? So I'm going to talk about the 20 and 10. Over here, 20 and 10 refers to the exposure and the education. When it comes to exposure, this is it. That's all I have. What I have is basically, number one, making sure all my positions are made available, as in all the open positions are made available to our employees. And what I try to do is that for internal employees, we will give preferential treatment to make sure that we would give accord respect to the employees and see if we can bring the employee from country A to country B. The second thing that I did for internal mobility is to make sure that we have some kind of guidelines. If you are performing well, if you have been with the company for a year, because we are only 4.5 years, And you have the chance to raise your hands and your legs to be considered to move to another country. Having said this, it's not perfect, purely because the countries that I have, Singapore is a country that is quite limited when it comes to immigration. But we try to have that conversation. Trying your best is good. Not doing anything is bad. It's not providing respect to our own employees. So the thing is that we try and say, hey, we want to bring you here, we go through the whole process, but it doesn't work, employee is okay. Okay? The second one is that this, I believe some of you would have done it. You have 2,000 employees, now I have 1,500 employees. Vietnam and Thailand has been sold off to a group. So with 1,500 employees, you have 1,500 experts in specific areas. So what we did, because we have different countries, each and every month, we have identified an individual in one country, so we have 6. And each month, each of them create a material to teach a fellow Zaloran. And the best part, in the age of technology, we actually video record it. But if the person is shy, then we actually have a PowerPoint with voiceover. And the beauty of it, we put it all together. We are a startup. We put it in Google Drive, and anyone can actually access it. And we actually have a wiki and try to make sure there's some kind of index and you click on it to access it. Another area, the thing is that for those of us who are in the e-commerce space, congratulations, you are in the glamorous industry right now. It's growing leaps and bounds. And the good news is this: people who are expert in their field, the coaches, the vendors, they love to work for us. Having said this, I always say, my friend, I would love to engage you, but I have no money. Can we do a bit of token of appreciation, and let us, next time, next year, following when we become bigger, we may have the chance to engage you. So with that, I do have the very good fortune of many friends, and my friends will say, yes, I'll do it for you. Because for them, it's also a good thing. They can list us as their client. They can also list us as, because a lot of times they consult big, mature organizations. So this gives them a good mix. So I guest talk, minimum budget. First one, no budget. But because, and the third one, even no budget. This one basically is, the notion is, hey, Mr. Google is the best teacher of all. Nobody else can beat Mr. or Mrs. Google. I'm not so sure if there's a gender to Google, but so we basically have, this is not HR doing the work. HR facilitate and enable. We ask the experts in each function to say, what are the things that you can do that you can find on the internet that's helpful? So we basically curate them and put all on the same page. And as a result, imagine each country doing this thing. We have 6 countries, and everyone, we have a bunch of things all come up for free. So 1, 2, 3, free. Why am I doing free? Because I need to get credibility for L&D, and the next one is not free. We basically create the credibility to ask my CEO to grant me a fund that I can get my people to learn the very relevant skill, the very specific skill that my people need. Next one, I talk about the 70, which is performance management, 20 and 10, experience getting people to interact with one another and education. If we were to do this really, really well, I don't say or claim number 1, not at all. Even if you do this really well, do you think that we can really get this company to be the best place to work? Answer is no, because we have not captured, we capture the mind, but not the heart. So, I believe is that we engage the mind, touch the heart, and once you touch the heart, people would do anything for the cause. Employee engagement survey, the secret down here is every quarter we have sample sales. People go, woo, crazy about it. Everything for fixed price. And basically we have done a baseline study, what people want. We prioritize it. We have parties. We have annual parties. We have town hall. But take a look at this picture down here. This is our workplace. This is not your wonderful auditorium sitting down on or having a town hall. This is our office. People just stand up and gather and mingle. The second one down here, I don't have budget for a big gigantic cake for everyone. So my office manager, I love her. I gave her a budget. She can do a lot of things with the budget. And you know what she did? On the birthday, our 4th birthday, she brought a big gigantic brownie cake and cut it up into small little pieces, put a toothpick and the name of all our people on every little brownie. And that's our birthday cake. The point down here is our journey that we try. We try and people understand. We are not that Google yet. Maybe even 15 years ago, Google, the best benefit was a bowl of M&M on the table, right? Lastly, we talk about all this engagement, but we need these people to have feedback to come back. So every month we have breakfast with MD. We allocate a small little budget for people to come, 12 representatives. This is the best part. This is fun. Every quarter we allocate a certain amount. We use CPI index initially to measure what is fair. Then it realized we use a hamburger index, also not that fair. Then in the end, forget it. You tell me how much is it. So every quarter, an employee a certain amount of money. And if you're a team of 5, team of 10, bring your people out. From a central, if you do not bring your people out for that quarter and use of money, you'll get forfeited. So what this becomes is that we encourage our people to go out and form bonds as not family, but as a team player. Go out there bowling and things like that. So with all these wonderful things that's happening across, we consolidate them. Our corporate newsletter, honestly, is not corporate at all. Basically, what I'm trying to do is bring out the authenticity in this company. Do not have to believe, who do we have to say it to? There's no one but us. So with this corporate newsletter, we get people to unite and people start to connect from Vietnam to Indonesia to Philippines. I'm just going to close by saying, going beyond L&D, we talk about the 70-20-10, you would have tons of ideas on how we do performance management, career development in terms of getting people to learn, and the onus is on our employees. The last thing is that you cannot do without employee engagement. It's a three-legged stool.